Hello and welcome to the Cellar Door. I'm George and I am in Padthaway in South Australia. A little later on I'll be at Farmer's Leap, but right now I'm at Padthaway Estate, home of Landare and Eliza, with Carolyn and David Brown. They're going to show me around and we might even have a drink. Let's go. So Carolyn, you are the owner or co-owner with your husband David of Landare and of Padthaway Estate.
That's correct.
Which is where we are.
George, thank you. Lovely to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for having us. So this is quite an historical site for Padthaway.
Absolutely. The original Lawson cottage was built in 1847 and we've just finished restoration of that, and the homestead which you see in the background here was finished in 1882, and it's a magnificent property, and we're really proud to be the new owners of Padthaway Estate, and we're looking forward to when we can open the cellar door and showcase Landare wines and Eliza sparkling.
So Landare wines is something that you've been doing for, is it 16 years?
The first Shiraz we released was in 2012 Shiraz.
Oh, okay.
So not that old, but we've been growing grapes in Padthaway for well over 20 years now. So we've got well-established vineyards, and that's probably our strength, is our viticulture. We grow for a lot of the major companies. We have extensive vineyards, and we only really select small parcels of the best blocks for our own brand, and we're just trying to make the best quality wine we can, and wine that we really like drinking ourselves.
So the Landare wines are made from your grapes?
Absolutely.
From your extensive vineyard?
Absolutely.
And so you hand-pick small parcels and...
We do. That is the most important part of what we do, is that we go around and select small parcels from our best blocks, and then everything from there is handcrafted.
And you'll be doing the same with the Eliza?
Eliza is hand-picked, and we are pressing it in the French cockard press that we have, the only one in Australia, which is labour-intensive, but it really is a labour of love. Yeah, absolutely. And 3 weeks' time we'll be pressing the 2020 Eliza, which is something we're really looking forward to.
Yeah.
Seeing how that progresses.
And so what brought you into wine? I mean, obviously you have been involved, Landare has been, as you said, around for about 20 years.
Yes.
How did you become a part of it?
Originally?
Yeah.
Well, I met David years ago in the Barossa at a winery, and I was at the time working at CSIRO Plant Industry, and so I already had worked on grapevines, in sort of disease aspects, powdery mildew and downy mildew mitigation, and so I always had an interest in vines. And then of course when I met David and we got married and I moved down here, and David's family had extensive vineyards here, and when we got married, David and I started planting in 1997 and we've been going ever since.
Yeah.
We really enjoy that aspect of it. It's where everything begins in the winemaking process. If you don't get that right, well, the end product could be quite ho-hum. That's the important part, is from the ground up in terms of getting the vines right and the fruit how you want it to be.
So have you found that your background in science has helped with the winemaking or the grape growing side of things? Absolutely.
Also involved with, disease monitoring and that side of things. So a background in science sets you up for pretty much anything in terms of you're analysing how things are developing, how things are growing, and what needs to be done. And every season is different, so you're altering what you're doing to the season, and that pretty much one of the most important things we do is that you just don't plant your vines and just prune it and then hope to pick it. You've just got to make little changes depending on what sort of season you get. And I think it's going to become an ever important thing as climate potentially changes, and, and you've got to deal with the irregularities probably in seasons.
So, David, you've pulled out the vines and redug, ready for replanting?
So with this is the start of the replanting process now, George. So the bulldozer has ripped the vine rows. If you come along here, you'll see these beautiful straight rows. And this is the start of it all. You can look down that row. It's all laser ripped with GPS and that sort of thing now, but perfectly straight. And of course, a feature of the limestone coast is the limestone under the ground and the terroir. And you can see this has got the beautiful terra rossa soil and the limestone rock underneath it.
So you've got some limestone over there?
Got some limestone underneath, which you can see in the rip row. And this is sedimentary rock. And 1 to 2 million years ago, of course, we were an inland sea. So this limestone is made up of skeletal fragments of marine organisms. You can see this rise.
Yeah.
That rise has actually changed shape. That originally was a stony knob with a stone on the surface.
Oh, really?
And we've actually pulled the topsoil back, ground that stony knob down, and actually made it a symmetrical shape, so we can just have that even depth of soil over the limestone, so we can get some consistency and uniformity into the vineyard.
And did you put the hay here? Is this different?
So that was a barley crop. This year it was barley. So we've had the first year we pulled the vines out, and then we had a lovely crop of canola in here, yellow canola.
Oh, really?
So we've cropped it. There was some, we've cleaned up some weed bank and been able to crop it. Then this year was planet barley used for malting, and now back to grapevines. Benefit for the soil, we've been able to do a lot of levelling with a land plane in here and clean up weed seeds that you couldn't do if you had a permanent crop.
Yeah.
So by cropping it, we've been able to, add some phosphorus and get some organic matter back into the soil.
Is soil your thing? Do you get most excited about it? I feel like you got pretty excited.
I think farming, agriculture, and there's nothing like time. So if you have time and you can do the preparation, you can do things properly. Anybody, you can rush in and, people don't think of cold air, people don't think of water drainage, and soil health and structure and organic matter are all the key. If you have those put the little steps in place which take time and thought, the end product will be a lot better. Carolyn's done a wonderful job with the redevelopment and those sort of things and the interior decorating, but I guess I'm comfortable here.
This is your domain. Pretty good team.
But actually she's pretty handy as well with her soil moisture monitoring and her scientific background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to turn your hand at winemaking?
Certainly, we've enjoyed drinking wine for a long period of time, and it's a hobby. And I guess we've got Daniel and Lara coming through who look like they'll be in the family business. Be nice to get to a stage where things weren't quite so busy and being able to spend a lot of time in the cellar and maybe tasting wine out of the barrel and being involved in that manner at a slower pace.
Yeah.
The name Landair comes from the names of Daniel and Lara, the letters put together, and signifies the importance of the family.
The land and the air.
The land and the air.
Oh, very good. So the Eliza is named for Eliza Lawson, who was the wife of Robert Lawson, who sort of built and established this. But Eliza built the homestead, is that right?
Eliza did build the homestead. Robert died prior to the commencement of building of this property.
Right.
And so it was Eliza who took over building of not only the homestead but also of the shearing shed, which now houses the winery. So she did an amazing job.
So she raised 6 children.
Yes, and basically after Robert Lawson died, she ran the property until her son took over.
So she oversaw everything.
She did.
Bit of Eliza in you, Carolyn.
Well, my husband David seems to think that.
You've embraced the Eliza spirit.
I hope so. It's nice to think that that's the case, because she obviously was an amazingly strong woman at a time when it wouldn't have been easy for any woman to do what she's done. So,
what is your greatest vision for the future? If you could sort of click your fingers and have anything happening.
I would ultimately like the homestead to be completed, the interiors restored and ensuite bathrooms, and have it open to the public, have a restaurant where people can come and, sit outside and enjoy the beautiful garden. And, I think this property is made for the public to be able to enjoy, but, we just have to take it step by step, and it is a big job. What we've done to date is huge, but the homestead itself is a really big job. And we want to do it right, and that will take a bit of time.
Yeah, but in the meantime, you've got your cellar door sort of ready to go.
We have, so we're really happy with that, and we're really looking forward to opening it up and getting more people to come and try Landare wine, and obviously our first release of Eliza under our ownership. So we're pretty excited about that. So we're really looking forward to that.
Whilst filming the Cellar Door in the renowned Padthaway wine region, our crew chose to stay at the Padthaway Caravan Park. Overlooking historic Padthaway Homestead and Township, Padthaway Caravan Park offers a relaxing and peaceful setting for its guests. Featuring lovingly maintained cabins and on-site vans set amongst a beautiful garden, you're guaranteed a quiet and peaceful stay. To book your stay at the Padthaway Caravan Park, head to padthawaycaravanpark.com.au.
So David, we are at your cellar door ready to sample some delicious wine.
Thank you, George. This is the Eliza Sparkling Rosé. So this is the first release that we've had, 100% Pinot Noir.
Beautiful. And this was made in your...
Press on site, yes, that's right, George.
Beautiful.
That's right.
And so the Eliza was named after Eliza Lawson.
That's right. So when we bought the property, it came with the Eliza brand and the Padthaway Estate label. So this is the first release of Eliza under our new ownership, I guess. Yes. I hope you enjoy.
I reckon I will.
And we're going to do this very... That was a bit of a pop.
Look, she's excited. And this is a Brut Rosé?
Yes, it is.
It's a little pink number.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you've got Eliza on the glasses.
Eliza on the glasses, that's right.
Are these the special Eliza only glasses, or?
These are the special Eliza only glasses too, right? Absolutely.
So this is a dry style?
It's a dry style, that's right. Yeah, semi-brut, that's right. Had 18 months on these. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for coming and visiting us.
Thank you for having me.
Do you like that?
I do. It's dry, but it has got a little bit of sweetness.
That's right.
Right at the back.
That's right.
This is your first vintage of the Eliza.
That's right. We made a Blanc de Blanc, but that's still on lees at the moment. We're just sort of seeing how that evolves, but that might be 3, 4, 5 years. But we're just sampling that as it goes through the process, and when we think it is at its optimum, we'll bottle it. So, yeah.
So was the Eliza before always a Brut Rosé, or?
I think that there were different styles of Eliza out, and I think the Eliza Sparkling was a Pinot Meunier, Pinot Noir and Chardonnay blend. We think our Chardonnay is very strong, so the Blanc de Blanc, we will probably just break that tradition and make the best sparkling wine that we possibly can.
This is delicious.
Thank you.
So you've mentioned your Chardonnay, you also have a Vermentino?
A Vermentino, that's right. So about 10 or 15 years ago, when Chardonnay, people got sick of that old style, over-oaked, Melanie fruit Chardonnay, we redeveloped some of our vineyard and we put in some Vermentino, Tempranillo, and now we've recently planted Graciano. But the Vermentino, it's got that beautiful natural acidity and some lovely lemon and lime characters. Very fresh.
Should we have a little sample of that?
Absolutely.
So this is your 2016 Vermentino?
2016 Vermentino.
Yeah, and it's hand-picked, so the wines that Landaire produce are all hand-picked.
That's right. So the Chardonnay and the Vermentino are all hand-picked.
Amazing.
So they're very clean, crisp and elegant.
Do you get out there at Vintage and do some picking?
I certainly do.
You do?
So I'm out there with the crew to start with, and Carolyn is as well.
Yeah.
So normally, we'd start at first light while it's nice and cool and get the fruit off quickly and into the winery.
So we're looking for the cheers, for that sort of fresh citrus.
First, fresh citrus and lime characters.
Bit grassy.
Yeah, a bit grassy, that's right. It's got that note, some minerality and just that lovely natural acidity. And you can see it's very clean and crisp in style.
And does this particular grape grow very well in the limestone?
Padthaway is a very diverse area, and with that Mediterranean climate, we're 1 hour inland from the sea, and we have those cold nights, and we're finding that these Mediterranean varieties are doing very well in our climate in Padthaway. Yeah.
So the Chardonnay.
So this is made in what we call the new style. So it's picked a little bit early, has some lovely natural acidity, and hand-picked, as we've said, but it's made up of 2 of the Burgundy clones of Chardonnay. So most of the Chardonnay in Australia has originated from California, the I10 V1 clone, where this is a combination of 2 Burgundy clones, 277 and 95, which Yalumba bought in the early 90s, these new clones. So it's a little bit unique.
Right. So what's the different sort of flavour that you're looking for with the Burgundy clone?
So it's got a little bit natural acidity and a little bit more like Chablis in style.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. And so we've got a different glass for these.
So these are the Riedel Chardonnay glasses. So very strictly we have to drink the Chardonnay in the Chardonnay glasses.
Is it purely for aesthetic, or is it a...
No, Carolyn's tried our Chardonnay in all the glasses, and
that was
she's very adamant that this is what we should be doing. So I can't say that I've gone to the detail that she has, but that's...
It's very devoted of her.
She's a remarkable lady. Hope you enjoy it.
I'm sure I will.
Cheers.
Cheers again.
So it's very elegant, nice colour, but still well balanced and some good flavour. It's elegant but nice balance with the oak and the fruit flavours and some nice acidity to pull it through.
Yeah, it's still very dainty. And so this will be going into the ELISA eventually?
Yes, it will be. Yes, we're making, we're crushing several parcels of fruit with the different clones, keeping them separate, and then working out that blend that'll just tick the box for what we're looking for. Padthaway has had a real affinity with Chardonnay and Shiraz and Cabernet Sauvignon. So even though there seems to be a trend lately towards red wine, red grapes, we're very proud of our Chardonnay, and it shouldn't be overlooked, and it's important that we grow the varieties in the regions that do well in our region, and Chardonnay and Padthaway have an affinity for each other. It's been a really fun day having you here, George, and we've really enjoyed our time, and it's a privilege to show you around our property and what we're doing, and thank you for coming down and visiting us.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
Thank you. I can't wait to see what you're going to do in the future.
Thank you, George. Thank you.
I think everything that we've done today, we're really happy with. There's still lots to do, and it is a process, and we just have to make sure that everything we do the best that we possibly can, that we can be proud of it for the next generation and generations onwards, I think.
And for the sort of township of Padthaway as well. It's
absolutely.
such an important site for the history and...
Yeah, it's an iconic site. It's the focus of Padthaway region, and I know local people are really, really proud of this property, and they want to see it sort of maintained and looked after into the future. So we feel like we're custodians of this property. So, you know, we're just, as I say, trying to do the best we can, and fingers crossed, really. Yeah.
You are the Cellar Door manager here at Farmers Leap in Padthaway.
Yes, that's right. I have been for a few years now, and it's a great job. As you can see, it's a beautiful venue, and it changes with the seasons, and great family to work for, good staff, and it's great product to sell. And well, it really sells itself because we do have such great wines.
And great food as well.
Oh, great food, yes. And we've built a big new kitchen 12 months ago, and which has really expanded what we can do. We were really limited to what we could do initially, but now can cook steaks, squid, you know, it's opened our options right up. Also, we now can cater for weddings and functions. We were doing those to a degree before, but would then get caterers in, but now we do it all. You know, we can do the wines plus do the food. So it's opened up a lot more opportunities, and therefore you can showcase your wines just so much better. You know, complement it with the food, and yeah, it's a great place. And you, as you can see with the views, it's you know, it's great. So
it's a bit of a sort of local hub.
Yes.
Here. And you've started doing Friday nights.
We do just at the end of the month, we call it a pizza and pasta night, but we do steaks, we open it right up. But yeah, really well supported. A lot of locals come and would book in from one month to the next, but a lot of people travel from Border Town or Narracourt, and the beauty of that is that people, it's not far for them to come, but they really feel like they've been somewhere different and somewhere special. You know, it's because they might not come regularly, it's not like the local pub that they go to, but certainly we have a lot of people that do come a lot, but it's just more, it's special. Like it is not such a wide range of food, but we keep it simple and do what we do really well, and keep nice fresh produce, like to showcase as much as we can our local produce around.
Super local, because I know the pickled onions on
right.
the platter are
Yes.
from Scott's farm.
Yes, that's right, and Scott's mum makes those for us, and they are delicious. And we do sell them, but at the moment we're sold out. Like with new season, we have to wait until the next batch comes through. So, and the chutney, she makes the chutney
Scott's
for
mum
us
too.
Yes, so
gorgeous.
it's that home touches, that personal, and I think that just reflects back that what we do, we try to do really well. It's not an extensive range, but just keep it simple, but do it really well. And we have, the girls are good, like
In the kitchen?
They're passionate about their cooking, and presentation is really important to them.
I can see. This is gorgeous.
And everybody has their own little quirky bit to it, you know, and everybody brings something different to our kitchen, which is, I think, important. Like, we like to expand. I think really at the end of the day we're here to sell wine, but it's about the experience. We want to offer food that will complement the wine, and Padthaway doesn't have a lot of other options for people, so if they come for wine tasting, then see that we do the grazing tasting platters, do the pizzas, then they think, oh no, let's stop and have lunch and enjoy the view. Or they've come for tasting, well, let's just now sit out and have a glass of wine. At the end of the day, the wine's what it's all about. You know, Padthaway, it's the wine region. We're here to showcase the wine, and certainly Farmers Leap is such a great product that people enjoy the wine. It sells itself, but it's the whole experience is what we're trying to offer, and be it whatever people want that to be. You know? Cheers.
Thanks, Liz.
Yes.
Hello, Renee.
Hello.
You are the winemaker here
I am,
at
yes.
Farmers Leap. Excellent. How long have you been here for?
I've worked for Farmers Leap for about 8 years, 7 or 8 years now. Yep.
So we've got some of your vintages to sample today?
Yes, we do. We've got a range of what we make, a Chardonnay, a Cabernet, and then a couple of Shirazes.
Excellent.
Yeah. I guess the region is known for Shiraz, so that's what we do the most of. And then the second most planted variety is Cabernet, followed by Chardonnay. So basically it follows exactly what we do here. Yeah.
Great. And do you have a particular grape that you like working with?
I like working with Chardonnay, mainly just because it's a winemaker's grape. We get to play around a lot with it.
So there's room to experiment.
Exactly, yeah. So a lot of different use of oak, lees stirring, picking at different times, whole bunch pressing, all sorts of winemaker nerdy stuff.
Yeah, great. And what happened to this particular vintage?
So this is the 2019 vintage. We've only just bottled this wine.
Okay.
But yeah, so we picked it from 2 separate vineyards on the property to give it some complexity. We whole bunch pressed part of it, and we crushed part of it. So the whole bunch pressing sort of minimises the amount of time on skins, so it makes a fresher style of Chardonnay, good acid line, etc. The other portion is a little bit more complex. Then we fermented them in barrel, so it's about 30% new barrels.
Which that's the sort of the stronger oak flavour?
Exactly, yeah, so it gives you some oak flavour as well, and we also use older barrels which don't give any oak flavour, but they give some texture and structure. Yeah,
great.
Exactly.
Should we have a taste?
Yeah, should we have a look? Yeah. The Chardonnays from Padthaway are quite minerally as well. There's a lot of limestone in the soil, so you sort of see that coming through. Yeah.
Great.
Oh, especially on the palate, I should say. Yeah.
Has got that minerality like right up the front.
Yep. Yeah, so the 19 vintage, the whites are looking really nice. They're really fresh and vibrant and really good acidity. So yeah.
It's a bit of a like a peachy finish.
Yeah, a little bit of a peachy character for sure. And then you sort of see that little bit of a sort of cashew nut character coming from the oak influence as well.
I haven't had that particular flavour note described before.
Oh right.
Great.
Lovely. Yep.
Yum.
Yep.
Delicious.
The random shot range is made in a way to really showcase the fruit from the vineyards. Tends to be a little bit younger vineyard sites than, say, what will go into the Farmers Leap range, and lots of juicy fruit. Yeah, that's the aim with these wines.
It smells delicious. It's pretty, but it's quite light still, like on the nose.
Yeah. So Cabernet out of Padthaway tends to be really quite fruit driven, lots of sort of blueberry, boysenberry sort of characters. And then you'll see some of those herby characters which are typical to Cabernet, and some sort of woody herbs sort of things. But then on the palate they're quite luscious and fruit driven, the Cabernets. The tannins are a little bit softer than some of the other regions that produce Cabernets. So yeah, nice strength.
It's, yeah, quite light, quite savoury.
Yeah,
even
quite
though it's got
savoury.
that fruit.
Yeah. Savoury, earthy sort of character. Yep.
Lovely. And how long is this aged for?
So before bottling, it's aged for around about 12 months, 12 to 15 months, and it's a mixture of just stainless steel tank and older barrels. Yeah.
So it hasn't got that.
So it doesn't have a lot of that oak character. There's a little bit there, you can see it sort of in the background, but yeah, it's very subtle. Yep.
Lovely.
You want the fruit to show. Yeah.
So Scott, you own and operate Farmers Leap.
Yep, me and my partner Cheryl started the Farmers Leap brand in 2004 and been running it ever since.
But you've been farming the land for a lot longer than that.
Yeah, my father shifted with his father to the Padthaway area in 1938.
Yeah, wow.
So yeah, so we've been here a few years. Dad was only 2, so yeah, so we got a bit of a history into farming. They come from up in the mid-north, and my grandfather wanted to shift away from his brothers, or a brother, so they found some land down here and shifted down here.
And you've got, as well as epic vineyards, you've also got sheep, you've got onions.
Yeah, we've got quite a diverse operation here as it's built up over the years. My father was like having a lot of goes at different things over the years. Some have stuck, some haven't stuck. So I'm pretty glad the ones that have stuck, which is mainly the vineyard and the onions. So the onions have been good to us over the years. So yeah, no.
And so's the vineyard.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So we started planting grapes in the early 90s, about 93. There was, so we had Hardies on one side of us, and then we had Alanda on the other side, and we had the strip of land with no grapes. And we're thinking, well, Alanda started planting. We thought, well, something's going on here. And we were looking to diversify anyway, so we put a small patch in 93, and well, I suppose the rest is history.
Yeah.
So no, it's been good. So we're in the Cellar Door Shiraz block. As we can see,
You've got some little guys coming through.
Little guys coming through. They haven't quite reached raison yet, but they won't be too far away. We had quite a dry winter this year and dry spring, but surprisingly the grapes, still look pretty good.
Yeah,
so,
they're thriving.
Yeah. So looks like should be pretty good quality, I think. These will get picked probably 2nd or 3rd week of March. They'll be ready. Yeah.
So these grapes will end up in the Farmers Leap Shiraz?
Yep. So some of these grapes will just go into the normal Farmers Leap range, which is the mid-range Shiraz for Farmers Leap. Yeah.
Great.
So
maybe we should pop in and sample some of the finished product.
yes,
Shall we?
we're glad to.
Let's go. So Adam, you're the National Sales Manager for Farmers Leap.
That's correct.
So you guys are sort of expanding at the moment?
Yes, we certainly are. So I came on board full-time as a sales manager 12 months ago. I've been working part-time for the business for 4 years prior to that. So we're certainly in a growth phase. It'll take 5 or 10 years probably to get to where we want to go, so it's not just 12 months and see where we're going, but yeah, we're definitely in a growth phase and I'm really excited.
So it has been quite a big 12 months.
Yes,
Yep.
2019 was a huge year for Farmers Leap. We basically went from nobody knowing who we are to probably 50 to 100 bottle shops in Adelaide now ranging our wines. But we need to grow on that. But yeah, it was a great leap forward for the business, pardon the pun.
And so you're going to be expanding into sort of national areas and international as well?
Yeah, so we already have consistent overseas business. Of course, we'd like more, but the Farmers Leap brand has been overseas for 10, 12 years. It's only really been in the last 3 or 4 years that we've started selling the wines in bottle shops domestically in Australia. So we started, whereas most wineries will start small in Australia, then head overseas, we did the opposite. So it's a big task, but yeah, this year we'll focus mostly on getting the Eastern Seaboard up and running. Melbourne, Sydney, followed by Brisbane. We already have small footprints there, but we'll hope to see them grow in the next couple of years.
Great.
So we'll move on to the Farmer's Leap Shiraz. Padthaway, about 15 million years ago, was part of the seabed. So that's where the limestone comes into everything. So there's two main soil types that we have vineyards on. One is on the hillside, which is sort of sandier soil, and they used to be
old sand dunes?
Sand dunes, exactly.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So it's really deep sand over limestone. And we tend to, with Shiraz, we tend to get really floral characters out of that soil type. And the other soil type is what we call the flats, which is more of a loamy red, sort of red-brown loam over limestone as well. We tend to get richer fruit characters from those sites.
Even though they're very close together.
Yeah, they're very close together. There's a different soil type, a little bit of difference in elevation, not huge, but a little bit. And yeah, so you get a lot more richness and earthy characters out of those flats. Quite fruit-driven, but dense fruit. Whereas you get a lot more high notes from the sandier soils, so sort of more florals, a little bit of mint, hints of licorice sometimes, and then sort of the fruit characters are a little bit more lighter fruits, so blueberries and black currants, sort of those sorts of fruits.
Excellent. Yeah. Definitely getting like an earthy.
Yeah, it's quite earthy. Yeah. And it will evolve as well in the glass. It's only just been opened, and you see a bit more fruit in a little bit more time.
It's quite light. After that kind of like big
Cabernet.
Big nose, yeah.
Oh, big nose, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got all those real earthy characters on the nose, but that freshness comes through the palate with that little bit of mint, and which is a regional character for Shiraz.
So, have you always been a winemaker?
I've been a winemaker for 20 plus years now, showing my age. I started out in the region of Langhorne Creek, working at Bleasdale actually. I was there for a number of years. And then I came down here to the southeast of South Australia. I've also worked in Claravale. Yeah.
What got you into winemaking?
Winemaking was, I guess, in a way, a little bit of an accident. I was quite good at science at school, and honestly, I was just looking through the university course guide. And didn't really want to do anything working in the lab. And I came across enology, and the prerequisites for it were very science-based, so I thought, I'll have a look into this a little bit more. And yeah, I love it.
And here we are.
Yeah, here we are. It's a great industry to work in. Everybody's very collaborative, and obviously it's a lot of fun. The Brave is a single vineyard Shiraz. So we've got one vineyard which we consider to be pretty special. Where with the Farmer's Leap Shiraz we blend from a lot of different vineyards. We just find that this particular vineyard doesn't need any blending. It's got everything that we could ever want in terms of just all in the one, for all the fruit from that vineyard gives us everything we need. The vineyard is sort of at the base of the hillside, and it always produces really good intensity of fruit. But then there's also a lot of complexity. You've got all the high notes of herbs and florals, and also all the fruit characters and some earthiness as well. So, yeah.
Lovely.
It's quite aromatic.
Yeah.
So this one spends about 18 months in barrel as well.
Right.
So yeah. And yeah, all French, pretty much all French oak, and probably about 30% of it's new. Yeah.
I think Shiraz is my favourite.
Yeah. And that one will evolve in the glass as well. I find this is a really interesting wine as well because it does change and evolve as you drink it over the course of a dinner. And you'll see different characters now to what you'll see in a few hours' time, and it just keeps evolving. Yeah,
It's a good wine to
yeah,
drink for a while.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for sharing the fruits of your labour.
No problem. Thanks very much for coming. Yeah.
That's it for my time at Farmers Leap, and that's it for my time in Padthaway. Don't forget you can catch up on old episodes of The Cellar Door online, and I will see you next time.